I've come to the decision I'm done with Rolex. Let's get into it. Yes, welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Now, where do I start? First of all, let me ask you, what do you think of the brand Rolex? Do you own a Rolex and love it? And do you love it enough to know what the reference of the watch is? Or can you tell me what the engine inside your watch is? Or even better, can you tell me when the brand Rolex first was established? If you do know all those things, chances are you are a watch enthusiast. However, the amount of people I've spoken to over the last 2 years who own Rolexes and can't tell you a thing about the watch is quite frightening and, to be honest, very sad. Now, the one thing these people do know is how much they bought it for and what it's going for now. Yeah, that again is very sad. Rolex has always been a brand or a sign of wealth,
success,
and prestige, and that's come from decades of clever marketing. Rolex attaching themselves to pioneering human beings, from the likes of Sir Edmund Hillary, who summited Mount Everest for the first time, to Gertrude Adair, the first lady to swim the British Channel. Also, watches were gifted to heads of state around the world. And if a Rolex is good for the President of the United States, it's gotta be good enough for me. But nowadays, the people we see in the public eye wearing Rolexes tend to be your fly-by-night celebrities, you know, Love Island contestants, or one-hit wonder pop stars and rappers. And now, to me, Rolex is a far more watered-down brand than it used to be. We now live in an age where social media dictates whether you and I should like something. They call it the flex culture. You know, showing yourself in front of fancy cars, planes, and even wearing luxury watches. When in reality, we know that most of these people
are up to their eyeballs in debt.
Because in 2022, more than ever, the perception of success is far greater than actual success. Now, my granddad George was a self-made man who built a carpentry company from scratch and did well for himself after he had worked damn hard and paid his dues. He owned a Rolex Explorer, and it's one of the first watches I ever remember seeing. That watch left such an impression on me
that I'm doing watch YouTube shows 30 years on.
Now, to commemorate the passing of my granddad a few years ago, I bought a Rolex 214-270 Explorer Mark II 39mm. To me, it's one of the most perfect watches ever created, and I didn't buy it to show it off. I bought it because it's a bloody good watch, and I'm very proud of owning it. And this is the problem with Rolex, isn't it? For anyone that owns or has held a Rolex in the past knows, like I do, that they are some of the best watches ever made.
And I've handled a few luxury watches.
So for many people, they turn a blind eye to all the crap that surrounds this brand. It's the watches we love and everything else we hate. This is an interesting one because for me, an investment is like, let's say, a bakery I've just bought. The business is doing well. We're selling a lot of ice buns. And after I pay rent, the staff, and every other bill, I make a bit of profit.
Cash flow.
And I do that on a monthly basis. Another example to me of an investment is, say, a house that I buy to rent. The rent I receive will be higher than the mortgage I pay every month. Therefore, I get a lovely bit of profit.
Cash flow.
Now, when it comes to a watch, once you sell it, it's gone. You can't make any more money from it. But I understand it's quite fun every now and then to go on, I don't know, Chrono 24. Look up your reference, you know, this is discontinued now, and it's still £2,000-3,000 over what I paid for it. But am I bothered? No! And I'd be the same if it was lower than the price I paid. This is going to sound really weird to a lot of you. I plan to wear it and keep it. I can't think of anything worse than safe queens. Watches that I bought and put in the safe. These things are supposed to have a very special relationship with us human beings. And to me, a watch is far more than just the sum of its parts.
It's got a soul, brother.
Yeah, I've had this almost 4 years. This watch is now priceless to me. Watches are there to do a job, and you should buy it to wear it and be happy. Now, what I really don't like seeing on YouTube is videos about Rolex prices coming down or Rolex prices going up. We all know that there's a bit of an economic dip right now with energy prices. Less people are buying luxury things. So it'd be the same if I was looking at Land Rovers. Because of the unsteady economic climate, Land Rover prices are going down. But these sorts of videos really drive up people's opinion that these things are just here to sell. And I am not about that. Let me stop you for a minute and talk to you about Watch Crunch. This is a new online platform made by watch nerds, designed for watch nerds. It's so easy to use as well. All you got to do is make a profile and then start posting away. Why not come follow me? The site is so easy to use. You can post opinions or post photos of your watches. Check out the link in the description below and see what the fuss is about. Buying a Rolex new is a joke. A joke. For anyone that goes online and sees a Rolex that they like, then decides to go to a local authorized dealer of Rolex, will find that they have hardly any watches in the window or in stock, apparently. And anyone that has looked to buying a Rolex at a local AD tend to get this sort of reply.
Hello, sir. How can I help?
Yes, I'd like to buy a Rolex Submariner, please. Yes, I've had stories of staff laughing at people, but the fact is no one's going to be able to go into a store and buy the Rolex they want straight away. Now, this is where it gets a little bit schneidi. Authorized dealers have been known to dangle a carrot, let's say a GMT Master 2, yeah? You can buy one of those, but in order to buy that, you have to buy some of these watches that no one else wants. So I've got to buy other things in order to buy the thing I want. Where else does that happen? It's like me going to an aisle trying to find my favourite baked beans, only to find the shelf is empty and to be told, sorry sir, you can't have those baked beans unless you buy 4 of these baked beans first. And then you can go on a waiting list. And if you're still interested after 2 weeks,
We may mug you off with a couple of tins of soup.
horrible tactics from authorised dealers of making money out of us watch enthusiasts, knowing that we do almost anything to get that Rolex watch we want. And I can't stand by and let that slide without telling you guys now. True story, I know one top lad who's not rich but loves his watches. He's bought Tudor watches and other brands until he was told he could now qualify for the first Rolex. So after the first Rolex he bought another Tudor and was able to get another Rolex. And he's played the game. Now he'd been lusting after this new left-hand drive GMT, and he had bought so many watches that he wasn't given this watch, but he was given some inside information that if you go to this store at this time, we've got one of those watches for you. So that meant he had to go 50-60 miles to see if he can get it. But they also told him, there is one there, but if a celebrity comes in and asks for it, we've got to give it to him. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it?
Take 2.
Let's see a little more originality, shall we? And now, yeah, we've got to talk about it. Rolex don't produce enough watches. The second-hand market is very high. Even now, the economy is shrinking. Whilst prices for everything is increasing, you're going to get evil, horrible opportunists knowing they can make good money on your Rolex. Paul Thorpe, one of my favourite personalities in the watch space, shows us countless times of muggings and burglaries, gangs organised to spot a Rolex on your wrist and take it, no matter what the means. So for all those fortunate people that have Rolex watches, can't wear them anymore. And to me, I've got to put some of the blame on Rolex. If they were to make more watches and make them available at authorized dealers, they would still keep the price, but the second-hand market would decrease and be quite similar to retail. And I believe you could have less watch muggings.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
So Rolex, the watches I love, but everything that surrounds them I really don't like. And that has brought me to a decision that I am not going to buy another one, which to me is really sad. But the good thing is, makes me concentrate on a lot of other brands. Haha. Here it is, my wife's first impressions of the brand Rolex. So I asked her, what do you think of Rolex? What comes to your mind when I say Rolex? Here it goes, are you ready? Insightful, old men and money, and a bit of Wimbledon. Now, a week or so ago, I put a community post up saying I was going to do this Rolex show. There were many disgruntled Rolex people, and I'm going to leave you with a comment that was given to me by one of my subscribers. Here it is. I've grown so tired of hearing and seeing Rolex that would I ever be able to afford one in the first place someday? I wouldn't want to, since being so put off by everything surrounding the brand. Just yuck. Sick of it. And that, in a nutshell, is it. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this show. If you do like it or want a little bit more, just join. There. Click it. Yeah. And if you're new to the Mad Watch Collector channel, take a look at this show. This is a great one. One of my finest, I think. I'll see you over there in a minute. Go on. Click it. Go on. Click it. Click it.